Right, this is a quick walk around video for a Honda Civic. This is a 2.2 diesel and it's the EX top of the range car. You can see here it's registered ET08 DFK and the car's covered a very low mileage, just 37,800 miles or so. Benefits from a lovely Honda history, more of which in due course. But just to go around the car for you, car's in lovely condition. All the lenses on the front here, there's no cracks in the fog lights or in the headlamps, no condensation or otherwise in there, so it's all in very good order. Incidentally, the engine on the video always sounds much louder on the video than it does actually in reality when you're stood here. The microphone picks it up. Front's commendably free of stone chipping. There's only one or two very minor ones on there. Coming to the off side of the car here, front wing all in very good condition, no dents, scratches or otherwise. Front tyres got plenty of tread on it, alloys very good, just a tiny bit of curbing just on the outside edge of the wheel there, it's just caught it just a tiny bit. Wing mirror housing all good, side repeaters all intact there. Car's got, any marks the car very small indeed. I mean, there's got the odd tiny little one which will just polish straight off, but it's really crisp and clean. I can't see any indentations on that side at all. Rear alloys completely unmarked, can't see anything on there, and the rear tyres got tons and tons of tread on there. Going around the back of the car, you can just see one tiny little nick there. It's very small, just obviously could be touched in very easily indeed. And I'm being sort of overly fussy, so do bear that in mind. Coming the back of the car here, again all in very nice order indeed. And then near side of the vehicle, really nice. There was a little car parking dink which I'll pick up on. It's only a soft one which could be easily pulled out, but I'll come to that in a second. Rear wing there. And no marks on there. Rear alloy, really clean, just the tiniest little bit of curbing. Just a little bit there, and there was a tiny bit up there from memory. Car parking dink, I don't know whether you can see it, is really small, it's just there, just looks like someone's opened the door on something. But again, it's something that a professional dirt man could pull out very easily indeed. Wing mirror housing again, all in lovely order. And near side front alloy, again generally good, just as with the others, just a titches bits of curbing just on the outside, which you invariably get on the near side of a lot of these cars. But we're still looking at the car even with low mileage, which is what, that's 8 years old now. But it's a very original car. We've done no paintwork to it at all, and it's in very nice condition. Coming into the boot area of the car now, absolutely massive boot on the car, as you can see. Your power outlet up there, 60/40 folds on the rear seat, but what the video doesn't really shows just how clean and tidy it is back here. All the carpets, they look pretty much like brand new actually, just got that real freshness about them. And then you've got your boot covers, all the parcel shelf rather, all good and intact. Coming to the back of the car now, rear door card looks pretty much like new, can't see any marks in there at all. They've got the seats in their vertical position here. This just shows off the Magic seats, such a clever design from Honda, really is. So you end up with this huge amount of extra space. You can put them down individually as well if you want. You can see there the car benefits from a full set of Honda interior mats. Back of the front seat, absolutely spot on. Likewise the plastics down there, which can get beaten about very easily by kids' feet. Nothing on there at all. Likewise driver's seat, absolutely perfect. And then door card on this side, absolutely spot on. To drop them down, it's just a lever up and pull down. It's all really beautifully engineered, as you expect from Honda. And then you end up with seats here which are in super condition and absolutely huge amount of leg room in there. Coming to the front of the car now, driver's door card, absolutely stunning condition. It really is, just absolutely clean as you like. Silver painted bit here, just the tiniest little mark there, which gives life to see if that doesn't scratch off. No, it doesn't. Just a tiny little mark there, but minuscule, hugely petty on it. Sill area is all really nice. Driver's mat looks pretty much like new in there, and as you'd expect, the driver's seat is in the condition you'd expect from such a low mileage vehicle. Coming across and just show you the front passenger seat there in equally lovely condition. Right, so inside the car now. Obviously engine's running, as that has been all the way through the video. Interior is in absolutely stunning condition, it really is. All the plastics are pretty much unmarked, can't see anything really anywhere. Obviously EX specs, you've got the high up sat nav system, all perfectly good. Oops, sorry, just catch the microphone on there. And then information display for your climate control, all absolutely spot on as well. Coming down here, radio CD all fully functional, and then you've got your controls for the sat nav and climate control and audio there as well. But it's all working absolutely beautifully. Coming down here, 6-speed gearbox lever again, just pretty much looks like new. Center console, well, again, all in lovely condition. The rest of the dashboard, which more about in the following road test video. You know, I absolutely love these dashboards, but needless to say, it's all absolutely spot on. Just pan in there for you. You've got 37,875 miles. Although this video actually comes before the road test video, it's just the way the editing works. This was actually done after the following video, bizarrely enough. Auto lights, auto wipers, and then you've got your multifunction steering wheel there as well. But everything's in lovely condition. And it said as you'd expect given the miles of the car, but it really is fabulous in here. Press a button there, got your electric folding mirrors, they all work absolutely perfectly. There we go. Just to show you as well, got the original Honda lock and wheel nut set for the car, and the manual pack there, and you've got the Eastern European disc for the sat-nav system as well. So currently you've got the Western Europe in there at this stage. So finally, just to come to the service book, got an absolutely wonderful service history, full Honda history all the way through, comprising 8 stamps as you can see. First service was done at 11,000. Then we've got service at 24,000, 27,000, 29,000, 31,000, 33,000, 34,000 and 36,000. So a ludicrously over-serviced car, but that's just the way people do it on the year every year with Honda quite often. But it's a sign of wonderful ownership, and will give the car many years of good service. Right, this is a road test video for a Honda Civic. This is a 2.2 EX diesel. Car's registered ET08DFK, and the mileage at the start of this brief road test is 37,868 miles. As I say in all our videos, the reason we now do them is because we're selling to customers from all over the place now. We sell quite specialist cars, you know, bizarre low mileage examples like this one. And we want people to see the cars in operation prior to coming to us, so you know the cars are genuine, and if there's any issues with the car, I can relay them to you in the videos as well. Worth pointing out that the videos are done on exactly the same roads as any prospective buyer will be road testing the vehicle on, so what I'm saying should be what you should feel when you come and see us, so there shouldn't be any kind of hidden horrors or otherwise. Starting with the engine on the car, clearly a very low mileage unit, so there's, you know, hopefully there's not be a huge amount to report on the car. And starting with the engine, that's certainly the case. Engine starts up absolutely first press of the button, as is the case in these Civics. Settles to a very smooth, very even idle. There's no fluctuations. We're going to go to stop in a second, so I should be able to demonstrate that. Harder to demonstrate is just how well the engine pulls and how sweetly, but I'll open it up a bit more. So as it comes to stop here, so the rev counter's absolutely rock solid. Clutch in, clutch out. There's no change in engine note, there's no noises, there's no vibrations, nothing at all. No warning lights on the dashboard. Engine pulls very sweetly. Worth pointing out, as I do in all the adverts, or hopefully doing all the adverts if I can remember, no DPF filters on these engines. Not, you know, generally when you look at kind of Golfs and, you know, that kind of stuff, you'll find DPF filters, but they're causing a nightmare for the trade and customers alike. So there's none of this kind of sooting up on the Civics that you get in those. Also, no scheduled cam belt change, because there's no cam belt. It's got a cam chain, which is designed to last pretty much the life of the engine. So again, normally you find you get to 70,000-80,000 miles and you've got a big sort of £500 bill looming for the dealers to sort of put a bit of rubber in the engine. but in this case, as I said, it's a cam belt, so cam chains are nothing to concern yourself with. But as an example of one, absolutely superb. It really is. It pulls absolutely beautifully, but more of that in due course. Engine obviously then runs through clutch into the gearbox. Clutch on the car, as you probably heard from me pressing the clutch in and out, very smooth, very quiet clutch actuation. No squeaks or clicks from the pedal. Clutch itself bites absolutely beautifully in exactly the right point in its travel on the actuation on the pedal itself. And as I said, it bites absolutely superbly. You can absolutely floor it. It's completely free of any kind of slip or otherwise. As I said, there's no vibrations from it at all. Clutch then goes through to this 6-speed gearbox, which is an object lesson to those who can't do good gearboxes. It proves that you can get a cable operated gearbox to feel pretty much like a direct into the box gear shift lever. It's a wonderful gear change, very slick, utterly precise, always finds its way home. You've got to be really cack-handed if you want to miss a gear on the car, because it is virtually impossible not to. It's linkage, it's springing, the gate, everything about it, absolutely brilliantly done, really is. And it's a genuine pleasure to use it. That's the thing. It's not like somewhere you change gear and it's kind of a ponderous, vague affair. This has got a little bit of verve about it, which kind of fits the rest of the car. Steering of the car tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations, even at main road speeds as I'm doing now. I can't feel it, even the merest hint of any wear in the steering of the car either. It's absolutely rock solid. Likewise, the suspension of the car, can't fault it. There's no noises, no clanks, no bangs. And what I'm looking out for is just signs of wear and tear. Even low mileage ones, if they've done it all around town, sometimes going over speed humps and that kind of stuff can put a bit of strain through them, and you get a bit of clattering underneath, which isn't unsafe. It just sounds a bit horrible, and the car just feels a bit tired and loose. But this is absolutely as tight as a drum. It really is. You'll hear it going over bumps, but what I'm not getting is any kind of those sort of secondary noises that are part and parcel basically of a, like here now. There you go, it's gone over a bump, but that's perfectly normal. As I said, it's the noises that come into cars like through sort of worn suspension struts. Sorry, completely lost words there. Suspension struts and anti-roll bars, sort of these little drop links and everything else. But there's nothing. It's really tight. What I'm going to do, I'm going to shut up a second. I'm just going to pretty much floor it and then hit the brakes quite hard for a test. Bear with me. Yep, all good. Engine pulls right through the rev range, absolutely perfectly. So the clutch biting beautifully, and the brakes right at the top of the pedal, exactly where it should be. Not stupidly over servoed and snatchy, but solid. When I hit the brakes, there's no pulsing through the brake pedal, there's no vibrations. The nose of the car dives down dead square and squat, which suggests again that suspension's all very good, and the brakes and the balance and everything's absolutely spot on. As I drive the car, I'm also listening out for kind of wind noises that shouldn't be there. And by that I mean if someone snagged a seal on a window or door, sometimes you get a bit of wind hiss that shouldn't be there, but all's exactly as it should be in the car. Very smooth and very quiet indeed. Just checking the cruise control function, and that works absolutely perfectly on there. But every button I pressed has worked absolutely spot on the car, so again, it doesn't come as any great surprise given the miles, but it's always worth checking these things. Inside the car, I've said it before and I'll say it a million times while we're still selling these vehicles. I maintain this is the best design of any interior of any car in its class, certainly for the last 10 years or so. It's beautifully made. There's not a squeak or rattle from the interior. Air conditioning is pumping out ice cold. But what we've got here is something that's actually genuinely interesting. It's a wonderfully designed dashboard, and for those who think it's gimmicky, well, it would be if it was all show and had no function, but I'm afraid to say it all works rather well. You've got dead easy to use, very conventional radio here. Sat-nav is operated from down here, no stupid sub-menus to go into, and iDrives and God knows what else. It's kind of strangely old-fashioned in a futuristic way. Very easy to use, all the switches beautifully damped and manufactured to a level the Germans can only dream of. So there's no paint peeling off the buttons you get in Audi and VW and BMWs and God knows what else. But as you can see there, sat-nav screen's working absolutely perfectly. Pixelation on the climate control system and radio functions up there again, all absolutely spot on. As I said, air conditioning is absolutely ice cold. And then probably my favourite part of the dashboard, this two-tier part directly in front of me. What this gives is, I've got my speedo up above, so I'm taking my speed in, I'm seeing that car turn left, but I'm looking at both effectively at the same time, because you can see the speed out of the corner of your eye, but you've still got your eyes on the traffic ahead of you, and it is such a clever design. Down below that, then we have a more conventional binnacle, again done in a rather interesting way. We've got a big dominating rev counter, with kind of this floating information display system giving you kind of MPG, trip meters, and temperatures and all that kind of stuff. It's all on there. But as soon as that harks back to the 70s and 80s, the Honda Prelude had a very similar system actually. And then we've got temperature gauge to the left, which is running at a third of the way up, which is exactly where you want it to be on a Honda car, petrol, diesel or otherwise, and fuel gauge to the right there. And then we've just got, climate control system can be operated through these switches here, which I tend to use. You can press a button there and go into it if you really want to, but I tend to use these. But it's all really nice to use. As I said, all the controls have a beautifully engineered feel to them. There's no kind of wobbling of those. You'd be surprised if you get in a Golf and just turn some of the knobs on theirs, and they kind of move around in your hand a bit, and that's on relatively new stuff. And you can imagine what they'll be like in 100,000 miles time. And then we've got auto lights, auto wipers, multifunction steering wheel here with audio, cruise, we know works perfectly, and then the information display on the bottom right here, and hands-free functions down on the left-hand side. But it all works absolutely superbly. There's not a button I press that hasn't operated as it should. What's much more difficult to get across in the videos is, when you get into some cars, they just feel what they are. There might be an 80,000, 90,000, 100,000 mile car, which just feels not quite new anymore, a little bit sort of saggy around the seams by comparison, but still fundamentally very good. And then you get into something like this, which basically just effectively feels new. It's the interior looks absolutely superb, not just in its condition, but in the fact that everything I've pressed, every button I've pressed, has that kind of newness to it, that tightness of actuation, which you can only get from careful ownership and good maintenance. And clearly this car's benefited from both, to say the least. Hopefully I can test drive. The last part of this test drive will be done if the lights are kind to me and no one pulls out of that left-hand turn. Be nice to me. Oh, here we go, for change. This is, to me, I think this sums up civic ownership, this next part. The chassis and steering have to be felt to be appreciated. Most cars to this corner, and I'm including some sort of good, well-made and nicely designed competition, flounder through these corners. You've got a yumpy left-hander here, followed by an awful corner. I love it though. It's an off-camber, quite fast, sweeping right-hander which tightens on the exit. And I turn in here, the stability of the car and its control and lack of body control is simply brilliant. It would have been, you'd only have had it in hot hatches a few years ago, and this has got it in a relatively smooth riding car. It is a stunning car to drive distances in. It really is. But anyway, enough of that. purpose of the test drive was to see if there's anything wrong with it, or to sort of feedback on any details of the car. Hopefully I've done that. If I've missed anything out on the video, please don't hesitate, do give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.